Do you like fantasy football and sports betting? Come join us here at the Parlay Fantasy Football Podcast, where hosts Matt, Shane, and Jason talk about fantasy players, lineups, and sports betting to help you compete and win championships. And of course, some extra cash. Let's jump right into the show.
Welcome back to another episode of the Parlay Fantasy Football Podcast. Matt and Jason with you guys. Shane is still not here, dealing with some family stuff. We wish you guys the best. Shane, we love you so very much. Jason, you are very loud. Your mic is very loud.
No, sorry,
that's better.
Yeah, cool.
But no, we love you guys so very much. Thank you for continuing to tune in. Remember, guys, if you guys want to check any of our stuff out, head over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, look up the Parlay Fantasy Football Podcasts. That is where you guys can find the audio side of this podcast. Please share, subscribe, leave a 5-star review. It really does help us out. And we do love our supporters that continue to do that. We would like to get some new ones in, though. So continue to grow the podcast, and we'll keep doing our thing. Head over to fantasy6pack.net, right? That's where you guys can find a lot of our content, and not just ours, a lot of other people's content. If you guys want to become an all-access member to that, use promo code Parlay FF to get 15% off. And what does that come with, Jason? That comes with cheat sheets. It comes with fantasy news. It comes with a lot of stuff, draft strategies, especially during the offseason, lots of dynasty stuff over there. And then it also gives you access to the Discord channel. And that is where the real money is made, over there. Tons of other podcasters in there with us, tons of knowledgeable people, subscribers in there. And you guys can ask any question on a ton of different sports: dynasty, IDP, DFS, regular fantasy, keeper leagues, fantasy baseball, golf. There's a lot of stuff over there, guys. You guys get all that with this all access membership. So do that. And guess what? Betting, right? We also do the Parlay Fade episodes. You guys want tons of bets, ways to win money? Head on over there and do that. If you guys want to follow us on our Twitter pages, X pages, whatever you want to call it. Elon, you're a boss. Okay. Do what you want to do. You can find Jason at Jason Parlay FF. You can get me at Matt_Parlay FF, and you get Shane at Shane Parlay FF. Shane will be back with us next week. We look forward to that. So, Jason, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, we come with the boom, Matt. Don't tease me with golf right now, because we're still in football season. I don't want to talk about golf right now. You're teasing me a little bit. But hey, yes, Fantasy Six Pack offers you everything, guys. Please like, subscribe. They give you everything that you could ever want with football, baseball, you name it. We got it for you, and we'll hold you down with any questions and concerns that you have about your teams. But Matt, to answer your question, I'm phenomenal. Hey, prayers out to Shane and his family. We love you. We hope to see you back next week. But hey, it was a rough week for me, Matt. I told you in our last episode that I had trouble sleeping, and I'm still having trouble sleeping, and I'm still getting over that. But hey, I'd like to think that we're a top 4 team in the AFC right now, and I told Shane that we could beat his Chiefs. So here we are.
Yeah, here we are. And that remains to be seen. But, and then also, guys, I forgot to mention video side of things. Head over to the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube. That's where all of our video stuff is now. So head over there, Give it a like, a subscribe. It does help us out, man. It helps them out as well. And we just want to keep growing the thing for you guys, because we love doing this, and we want to continue to do so. So tonight is the fantasy episode, guys. What Jason and I are going to do tonight, since Shane is not here, we are going to go through some notes. We're going to go through a couple fire and ice players, and then we're just going to kind of go through the schedule of the week, point out any games that we may or may not be looking at different players. And obviously, guys, the big name players, we're not going to get into that, guys. It's week 11 of the NFL season. It's week 11 of fantasy. By now, you should probably know who to start, who not to start. Waivers are looking bleak. They're not looking fantastic. You still might be able to find a couple gems in a couple of your leagues, but those waiver shows, they've been out now for a little while, so we don't want to dive too deep into that. My main question, Jason, is because now we are at a point in fantasy where people they have to decide, those middling pack teams. This is where they have to decide whether or not they want to be in it or whether or not they're not going to make it, where they make their trades and so on and so forth. Because right now, trade deadlines are coming up for a lot of leagues here in the next week or two. So my question to you is, before we fire this off, is if you are a team that is in a league and you are sitting with a middling pack record, the teams above you have probably already made moves to make their teams championship caliber teams. If you are a middling pack team, what's your strategy here? Are you looking at it as, because all you got to do is make the playoffs. All you got to do is make the playoffs. There's been so many different injuries. Let me hypothetically actually ask you this, because that's too hard of a question to ask. If you are a team that is in the middle of the pack and you do want to go for it, are you willing to sacrifice a lot of picks for players that are big name players, but all the superstars or what have you have already been traded, right?
That's a good question. And to answer your question, in dynasty leagues, no, I would not. If you're in the middle of the pack, I'm rolling it. And depending on what your buy-in is, that all depends on what your buy-in is. I don't know how big ballers that we have listen to our podcast right now, but that's what I'm saying. It's less than $100 league, depending on your bankroll. I would not sell my future to try to win this league. But if it is a big baller buy-in league,
I'm making the move.
I'm making the move. But so
yeah.
that's like a weird question to ask, Matt, because at the same time right now, I feel like the guys that are in the middle of the pack are getting like for me, for example, like I'm in the middle of a pack for a lot of dynasty leagues. I'm getting my players back healthy. CMC right now, Nico Collins back right now. I'm getting those players back right now. So do I make moves to try to buy in for the next 2 to 3 weeks? No, I'm not. I'm not going to sell my future, and I'm not going to sell what could happen for next 2 or 3 years because of what's coming through the draft at the moment. Like if there was a big time draft class right now, Shane might argue against me saying there might be a 4th round amazing draft pick that could come up that he's eyeing on who just makes him drool.
No.
But at the same time, I'm not doing that. I don't see anybody that could change my dynasty team right now to where I can move on and sell a 1st round pick for in order to get that return. So I'm staying there at that level.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where like Jason said, some people have his opinion, some people have the opinion, well, if I make the playoffs, I can potentially win this thing, and some people do it. Basically, we're not going to fault you guys. We're not going to, that's something that you have to make the decision on, whether or not that you feel like you can make a run deep into the playoffs. I mean, that's also something, know your league. Look at the other teams, look at their rosters. Well, what do they potentially need, right? If you are, for me personally, because I sent you a trade, Jason, I don't even know if you've looked at it.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. I just wanted to be there.
Why didn't you just cancel it? Jeez, come on now. See, this is,
I'm not going to trade Pickens.
I thought that was a pretty fair trade, brother.
It was a fair trade.
But no, I get it. It's one of those things where just make your decision, make your move. If you want to, go for it. If you don't, then just pass on it. Right?
Low-key shout.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to make sure you knew about it. I figured I'd call you out on the podcast.
No, but hey, real quick, but sorry to interrupt you. Is it weird that you haven't had to use Fab on any players this year in fantasy, like off waivers? There hasn't been a dude.
No, I mean, I've been in a fortunate position, minus a couple of leagues. I've had some very, very bad luck with injuries, and unfortunately, I was at the point in 2 of the leagues I'm in. I know there's no chance that I'm making the playoffs. I knew there was no chance of me making the playoffs 2 weeks ago, so I made the move to sell some of my higher value players for picks for next year. And I ended up getting some good keepers, right? I ended up getting some good keeper potential because I'm in a couple keeper leagues. But all my dynasty leagues, I really have not had to use Fab. I've just kind of been in
Not
that.
at all. Other than
just
like
been in
week
that weird,
2.
Yeah, I've been in that weird position of I'm winning games with not superstar names, and I haven't really had to go out on the waiver wire. It's all kind of fallen into place for me in a couple leagues. So, and like you said, there's players that are coming back from injury. I'm thankful. Thank God. I hope Nico plays this week because thank God I've been needing him back very badly. So hopefully we'll see what happens.
Baby.
But yeah, guys, let's just what we're gonna do is go news and notes and so on and so forth. So let's just jump right into the news and notes, Jason.
It's time for news and notes.
Yeah, so we already kind of said it, guys. Nico Collins is poised to play week 11. We hope that he does. The Texans hope that he does. They need him back. CJ would love him back. Joe Mixon would love him back so they don't run him to the ground. So he's looking to come back in week 11. Isaiah Pacheco is designated to return from IR, which is pretty big news. If you have Kareem Hunt, you've been extremely happy with the last few weeks that he's put in for you. I still look for Kareem Hunt to be a key point in this offense, at least for another week. We'll see what happens in 2 weeks. That seems to be pretty early for him to come back, especially with his injury. So we'll just have to play it out. I think Kareem Hunt will be a piece of that offense regardless moving forward. DK Metcalf is expected to practice Wednesday. Seattle needs him back as well, and I need him back as well. Those are two injuries that I've been needing to get figured out. Mike Tomlin, his comment on facing Deontay Johnson this week, first time facing him since he's been traded, first time back in Pittsburgh. He's not in a lot of their video. They've more significant pieces with larger roles to worry about at this point in the week. Maybe Deontay Johnson has a week. I don't know. That seems like something that would fire him up, but Mike Tomlin knows how to do. He knows how to face him. So
that's why he makes the big bucks. That's what he said in his press conference. That's why I make the big bucks.
That's right. And that's why he's always over 500. So don't forget that.
And he wears those Ray-Bans.
Bro, he's a beast, bro.
The aviators on the sidelines. What an OG.
I love him. Love him. Adam Thelein activated from IR. Najee Harris is nursing ankle injury, but he should play, is expected to play. Dak Prescott will undergo season-ending hamstring surgery per Ian Rappaport. So Dallas is toast. CD is crying. We know CD will probably see now in the upwards of 200 targets, but
can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
So, like, I listened to a decent amount of like sports talk hosts and whatnot, to where it's like, now, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, do you regret signing Dak?
No.
You don't regret signing Dak, to where you
No.
know that now, to where his value would have gone down so much after this moment. Yeah, it's a hypothetical situation at the beginning of the year, but his value would have gone down so much after playing half a season, to where you could have got him for 45, 50 because of this injury, to where you don't have to re-sign him and you can re-sign Micah and then go into the draft.
No, I mean, the big thing for me is Dallas knew that Dak was going to be their quarterback of the future. And to be honest, like, people forget, like, Dak is not one of those players. He reminds me a lot of like people that he reminds me a lot of the Steelers. People bagged on the Steelers, they bashed on the Steelers, but in real life, they know how to win games. And Dak is that way in quarterback. Like, is it always flashy? No, it's not. Dak has always been more of a second half quarterback, but people forget that he finished at QB like 2 last year in fantasy, right? Dak puts up fantasy points. Now, if you're going off of just like team, maybe they regret it.
I'm going off both.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going off team, I can see there might be a little bit of regret in the air there, but at the same time, Dak is a competent quarterback. He is a good quarterback. I don't think they made the wrong decision. especially after Micah Parsons came out in the locker room and just bashed on the head coach. Like, it was just an absolute travesty. It's terrible to see someone like that who I feel like has always been kind of that humble guy that respects a lot of people, and then to say the stuff he said, it's not needed in the locker room. There, you're just creating some toxicity, and now you're going to face that for the rest of the season.
Yeah, we talk more about this off pod, but we don't have to spend too much time on this. Yeah, we're good. Yeah. I just wanted to ask you the question about Dak to see if he was, because this year was the year to where, as a fantasy owner, it looked beautiful.
Yeah,
because of the run game and not having a run game and whatnot. I was like, okay, cool, Dak. What are you gonna do with CD? Are you just gonna blow him up with Tolbert and Cooks? Then injuries happened, and it sucks. But
it's been bad.
We'll talk more. We'll talk more about the rest of the stuff off air.
Yeah. And then the last thing I really have, big nuns, is Brian Robinson stays limited and walk through. They need him back. Brian Robinson's is a good running back. Other than
Please.
that,
please.
Yeah, there's really not a whole lot of other news and notes. Just monitor injuries, monitor practice reports, because that is what you're going to really be looking at when this week rolls around for fantasy. Wednesdays are the day that you really need to monitor. And if they're not practicing by Thursday, you get a little scared. And if they're not practicing by Friday, find a contingency plan.
Or if they're like Nico Collins, where they say that they're activating them off IR and he's probably going to be looking good by Sunday night, and they don't start him, just have a backup plan.
Yeah, and I think he could have played. I really do think that he could have played.
It's because of the AFC all lost. I think that's why he didn't play.
That probably has a piece of it. And also, I think they just wanted to play it safe. It's almost like they were expecting to lose that game in a way, in my opinion. That's the wrong way to look at it, but it's weird.
I agree.
It's weird.
I would agree. I wouldn't go that far to say.
I
would say that we don't need him to win, and we're going to see what we have. That's why we didn't activate him. That's why we did activate him to have him play next week. Yeah.
All right, let's jump into fire. Let's jump into Fire and Ice. All right, so we got some Fire and Ice players for you this week. Typically, this is where Shane does his thing, but again, he is not here. So Jason and I just compiled a couple players here. We're just going to talk about them for a few seconds. So for our first Fire player, it's the one and only Nico Collins, baby. It's the one and only Nico Collins. We are expecting him to be back this week. Like we already said, the Texans need him. And when he's out on the field, the dude is fire. The dude is fire. You never even think about setting him. I know a lot of people get a little worried about, especially hamstring injuries and groin injuries. Like, are they going to re-aggravate this? But you guys got to remember, Nico Collins, he sat out for 4 weeks, and then he sat out for another week. So he's had 5 weeks where he's been out. And from what I gather from his specific hamstring injury, it wasn't as crazy serious as what people think. So I think he's going to be fully restored. I'm firing him up in lineups, and I'm expecting a big week from Nico Collins playing at Dallas. I think he's going to torch that secondary.
Yeah, and the sunset's not going to be in his eyes like it was with CeeDee Lamb. So as dumb as Jerry Jones is when saying we set the football field east to west, when who knows where the sun is going to set. Dude, we all know where the sun is going to set. It's astronomy, bro. Like, we get it. Like
he's
we know
senile.
where it is.
He is senile.
Y'all play at prime time almost every week. Nico Collins is going to rep up that secondary stuff, or Diggs is not going to be that guy. I love Nico this week, especially even if he is double covered.
Yeah, me as well. We have Justin Herbert at quarterback and Marquez Valdez-Scantling at wide receiver. Listen, Justin Herbert has sneakily played really well this year. The Chargers are 6-3. They have sneakily played extremely well. Harbaugh is letting Herbert cook. And what really excites me about Justin Herbert right now is the fact that they're letting him use his legs. Now, last game, I think he had 9 rushing attempts for like 32 yards. It's not a crazy number, but that gets me excited. 9 times. He ran the ball 9 freaking times. I like the way that they're utilizing Herbert. The team doesn't look flashy. They don't look fantastic. They don't have your giant name players on it. Ladd McConkey's starting to play well. This team is sneakily pretty good. I mean, this team is sneakily pretty good in the AFC. And I think Justin Herbert's a fire, and that is a player that you probably can go pick up off waivers because I know a lot of people were not high on him just because of what the offense looked like in the offseason, and starting the year, they didn't look that great, but they've picked it up. MVS, Jason's the one that brought this one up. I think that's Derek Carr's new favorite weapon. That's Derek Carr's new Rashid Shaheed. Okay, Chris Olave is going to miss. I've heard reports of him putting him on the IR. I know that he's seeing other specialists. Is his season over? I mean, I've heard all these things. Rashid Shaheed is not back. MVS is his downfield threat. And MVS looked good last week. I mean, yeah, it's one game. It's a one-game sample size, but that's a guy you can go get off the waivers right now and put him in your lineup. And
like what you said, Matt, it's Rasheem. It's a Shaheed play. It's a boom or bust. It's 3 receptions, 70 yards, and you're hoping for a TD.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think he's definitely a player you can go and get off the waivers right now and plug him in your flex. I mean, I think it's not a terrible play, especially this time of year when you need wins. You need boom or bust wins. So
if you need a boom win and you still have money in your fab, bid it.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, right now is the time that you've got to find those players to play in your lineup and keep in your lineup. Okay, let's move over to some ice players, guys. You got Jordan Addison. Did not look good last week. The Vikings had to throw the ball a lot. It seemed like Sam Darnold was obviously targeting Justin Jefferson, and then he hyper-targeted tight ends. Jordan Addison, I know, cried for the ball about 2 weeks ago, wanted the ball more, got the ball more the next game, and then this game he just kind of disappeared. He only had a few catches for, I don't even remember the yardage, but I'm putting him as an ice this week. I'm putting him as an ice against Tennessee, who is number 3 against wide receivers. I just don't look for him to have a massive week for you guys. So, icing. Dalton Kincaid. Oh, go ahead, Jason.
No, I was about to say Sam Darnold looked like he's digressed over the past couple of weeks of the year. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
And he looks like whenever he gets in trouble, he's favoring JJ, which any decent-minded quarterback would do.
Yeah. Yeah. My next ice player, guys, is Dalton Kincaid. Listen, he looks great at the beginning of the games. He's always like the first 6 plays are kind of geared towards Dalton Kincaid, and then it's just kind of nothing for a quarter and a half, and then maybe a play here, a play there. They're still using Dawson Knox, and it'll be interesting to see what they need to do when they have to throw the ball 100 times. I feel like in a game, I think he will see some more play. Dalton Kincaid's a fantastic tight end, fantastic player. Could be a top 5 tight end, could be one of the better tight ends in the league or the best tight end in the league, but he's not being utilized that throughout the entire game. He's only getting utilized in the first part of the game. I know Josh Allen missed him on a wide open that probably would have been a touchdown pass. He kind of overthrew him, but he scares me now. At this point in time in the season, he scares me. If you only need a few points, that's definitely a play. But if it's a player or a tight end that you are kind of relying on for a lot of points, I don't know if it's going to happen.
Real quick, Chiefs linebackers are top 5 in the league in covering tight ends. So be aware if you can find somebody else, I would try.
Yeah, I agree with you. Agree with you 100%. And then Raheem the Dream Mostert didn't even get a rush attempt on Monday night. No rush attempt for Raheem Mostert. He got 2 catches for 30 yards. They used him extremely sparingly. Is that a score thing? Is that an age thing? I don't know what's going on in Miami. I don't know what's going on.
With a lead.
Yeah. I mean, Devon Achane did his thing. He did some good numbers, right? Raheem Mostert just scares me. After seeing that on Monday night, no rushing attempts. That scares me. I don't know if that was just a systematic play for that week, but it's scary. That scares me. And I know a lot of people probably need him to play. So
drafted him high too.
Yeah, I mean, those are our fire and ice plays for this week.
I love them. I love the ices.
Yeah, I mean, you guys need to make your own decisions. Obviously, it's fantasy. We're getting to the gritty time. We're getting to the gritty time where we have to score points. We have to win weeks.
And like me and Matt both said before, if you have Fab right now, use it. Spend it.
Yeah.
I mean, you saved it up to this point. We made a note earlier to where there hasn't been a Fab member since likely in probably like week 2 or 3. And even then, I don't know if I can think of one off the top of my head, but you still probably have a lot of Fab. Use it.
Yeah, right now is the time where you have to use it to get the players to potentially get you a win, because that's what matters right now. Like I said, we need wins at this point now. So again, if you are a team that's in the middle of the pack, you've got to do what you need to do to make sure that secure those wins. Waiver wire pickups, Fab dumps, trades, do what you can to win games. And if you guys have any questions, just for the sake of making sure that the podcast doesn't run for a long time, if you have any questions on waiver wire pickups or trade suggestions, reach out to us, right? DM us. If you're on Discord, reach out on the Discord channel at Fantasy Six Pack. You can DM us, leave some comments in our audio side of the podcast as well, because we check those comments too. So head over there, do that, and we'll try to answer your guys' questions as fast as we possibly can. Jason, let's fly through some of these games this week, okay? We have the first game, the Washington Commanders playing at the Philadelphia Eagles. Should be a high-powered game. Who do you like in this game the most? I mean, obviously the big-name guys we love, right? But who do you like a lot in this game? Who do you think is going to have a extremely good game?
Anybody that is a Eagles receiver, because that Commanders secondary is weak, and even Russell Wilson looked good for them. So AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. I would look in starting Zach Ertz, even though he got screwed on that fourth down play versus the Steelers last week. I'm going to bring that up again. But
Zach Ertz is going back home. He's going back home.
But I like any running back versus the Eagles this week, especially in goal line situations, because the Commanders have shown they can move the football.
Yeah, I'm firing up everybody in this game. I'm firing up everybody in this game. This should be a high-powered game.
Terry looks his best he's ever looked.
Yep, that's a Thursday night game. And I did forget to mention, guys, that the buys this week are the Arizona Cardinals, Carolina Panthers, New York Giants, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So make sure you are checking your lineups. Check your lineups and make sure that you are good to go. Next game, we have the Green Bay Packers playing at Chicago. Are they going to continue to own the Bears? Are the Packers going to continue to own the Bears? Obviously, guys, last week, Caleb Williams was getting booed. He hasn't been playing absolutely terrible, but he has not, for fantasy purposes, has not done what you want him to do, Jason. I'm going to win that bet. I'm going to say it. I'm going to keep saying it.
Do you like DJ Moore this week? My question to you, because I think that's what everybody has. It's like, who are you starting up with the Packers receivers, and are you starting up DJ Moore?
I think I think at this point, unless you are stacked with wide receivers in your fantasy league, I think you have to start them. I think you have to
with the new OC. I think you do too.
I think you have to start him. But I think my favorite wide receiver for the Bears this week, even though he has not been playing well, is Rome Odunze. I think Rome can separate. I think Jair Alexander is going to be covering DJ Moore, and I think Rome's body size will be beneficial for Caleb this week. So that would be my play. My favorite wide receiver for that team.
Cole Kmet, you starting him up?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of.
If you have a better option, you do. But if you don't, you start. It's weird with the new OC. It's just weird with the new play caller. So I would hold. In my opinion, I would hold off. That's why I asked you that question. I would hold off. But you're firing up. You're firing up Jaden Daniels. You're firing up Josh Jacobs. You're firing up.
You said Jaden Daniels.
Or Jaden Reed.
Yes.
Sorry, my bad. Yeah, Jaden Reed. Are you firing up?
Trying
to think of somebody else from the.
I'm not. I'm not firing up Christian Watson. I'm okay flexing Romeo Dobbs. I'm starting Jaden Reed. I'm starting Josh Jacobs. I'm starting Jordan Love. I'm starting Roma Dunze. I'm starting DJ Moore, DeAndre Swift. I'm probably sitting Cole Kmet if there's a better option.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm okay even starting up Keenan Allen. I actually like the other two receivers more than I like DJ Moore.
Yeah.
This week.
You nailed it.
All right, let's move on. Cleveland Browns playing at the New Orleans Saints. Yeah. Cedric Tillman. Cedric Tillman. Nick Chubb. That's probably it for the Browns.
Taysom Hill?
No, for the Browns.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Sorry. I think you could play David Njoku. I like David Njoku more than I like Cole Kmet.
They want to. Winston's going to try to throw the ball all over him.
Yeah, he's going to have to. He's going to have to. MVS. I'm actually okay streaming Derek Carr this week. I know that sounds gross, but I'm okay streaming Derek Carr. And Alvin Kamara. That's probably it.
Fair.
Taysom Hill. I'd probably start Taysom Hill just for high upside. You might get some boom plays from him.
And the goal line. Yeah.
Yeah, goal line.
It's a goal line, boom or bust. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yep. Next game, we have the Los Angeles Rams playing at the New England Patriots. I don't know what happened to the Rams on Monday night, but no one had a good game. Kyron didn't score. Cooper didn't score. Puka didn't score. Matthew Stafford didn't throw a passing touchdown.
Their kicker scored.
Their kicker scored a ton. Yeah, fire their kicker up if you're in kicking league. You got kickers. I'm still starting all those players. I think they'll have a bounce back. It's in New England. They have a fairly decent defense, but they're going to have a bounce back, right? That just don't happen for all those all-star players. So I'm starting out all those players. From the Patriots side,
Stevenson, that's probably it.
Yeah, and even that I kind of want to stay away from, but I think you have to start him.
Let's not go past the fact that the rookie quarterback has played well.
Yeah, but I'm not ready to stream him yet.
Oh, no, I'm not streaming him yet, but it's a bounce back week for the Rams.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. That's probably it from the Patriots. We've got the Baltimore Ravens playing at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ooh.
I'm firing up everybody. That's
wait, I guess the only question is Freiermuth, Devontae Johnson, and
Deontay Johnson.
Sorry, my bad. Sorry that he used to play for you. And Mike Williams.
I will flex Mike Williams.
Okay.
If I had a better option, I probably would sit Deontay Johnson until I actually see him do something. I don't want to risk getting a 0. Mm-hmm. I do not want to risk getting a 0 in fantasy, especially at this point in time in the year. If you have to play him, then feel free to. But if I have another option, I would I'd play MVS over him. I'd play Cedric Tillman over him.
I like that. No, I like those options right there.
But other than that, everyone else I'm playing. But I don't see this being a high scoring game. So
okay.
Yeah, it never is. It never is. I see it's always 17-14 or something like that. So you just have to hope that the players you do start score you the touchdowns, right? Yeah, but other than that, I'm firing everybody else up.
Wait, real quick, Jalen Warren for our listeners.
I think you can stream him or flex him. I think you can flex Jalen Warren at this point in time. Yeah, I think he'll have some decent run this week, especially since Najee has this aggravated ankle injury. Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, you might. I just don't think they're going to be able to ground and pound the entire game. So,
agreed.
Next game, we have the Las Vegas Raiders traveling to Miami to play the Dolphins. I look for the Dolphins to have a bounce back week. Raheem Mostert still kind of scares me. I'm still putting him on ice, but I don't blame anybody if you have to play him, if you have to flex him. If I had to start a running back, I would probably look at a different option. But again, if you have to flex him, it's fine. I do see that the Dolphins should have a bounce back week on offense anyway. Their offense is too powerful. It's too fast. but they haven't looked right. So it does scare me.
Tua has looked better week after week.
Yeah. And like, to be honest with you, like Jalen Waddle actually led the receivers in Miami's offense last week or on Monday. It still scares me. Like I still would play like MVS and Cedric Tillman even over Jalen Waddle. But again, if you have to play him, if you have to flex him, it's okay. He'll probably get you a couple points. You just have to hope for a touchdown. You have to hope for a touchdown from Jalen Waddle. Tyreek Hill's the kind of guy that can get you 8 catches for like 150 yards, and that's going to be enough fantasy points to satisfy you. Jalen Waddle needs a touchdown to satisfy you, right? So as far as that goes, you're firing up all the starters for the Miami Dolphins. The Raiders, Jacoby Myers maybe, and Brock Bowers. That's it.
We can move on.
Yeah, good. I was hoping you didn't want to talk about them.
No, I was like, we can move on.
The next game, you have the Jacksonville Jaguars playing at Detroit. Obviously, Detroit. I'm not even going to talk about Detroit. You're firing up all those starters. Jared Goff should have a bounce back week. I'm okay even starting Jared Goff this week. They're playing the Jacksonville Jaguars at home in the Dome.
And yeah, we don't have to talk much about the Lions. Laporta looks back after what he did against my Texans, but with the Jags, it makes you feel better about ETN, what he did last week. I know Tank Bigsby did go down with an injury and whatnot, so the upside of ETN and what he can do at the backfield looks good. I don't know if I'm firing up Gabe Davis or anything, but BTJ probably firing up this week with that secondary. But their secondary is stout, but that's the only 2 guys that I'm firing up in that offense.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you need a tight end play, you can probably start Evan Ingram.
I like Ingram. I do like Ingram. Yeah.
I probably like him more than I like BTJ, to be honest.
Hey, Dalton Schultz got work versus that defense last week, so fire up Ingram. Those are the only 3. We can move on.
Yes, sir. Minnesota Vikings traveling to Tennessee to play the Titans here. Obviously, I have Jordan Addison on my ice list. I think you're safe with tight ends. I think you're safe with Justin Jefferson. Did we ever hear what was going on with Aaron Jones? He got banged up. He went to the medical tent. I don't know if he came back into the game. I haven't seen any news reports on it.
Yeah, that's one thing that you got to look into to see what you want to do with that offense. If not, you're plugging and play.
They have Cam Akers. They have Ty Chandler.
Akers, yeah. But at the same time, tight end came back. Hawkinson came back, looked phenomenal. Good for him. I'm happy for him. Looking great. But at the same time, with the Titans, Calvin Ridley is back.
You like Calvin Ridley against the Vikings, huh?
I love him versus the Vikings in that secondary.
With Will Levis? Will Levis?
That's who he's targeting right now.
I guess if you it's probably a situation where you need to play him. I'm skeptical. I'm a little against the Minnesota Vikings.
Look at his past 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know. I'm just skeptical. The Minnesota Vikings have a pretty good defense, so I'm a little skeptical. Like Tony Pollard, I'm fine playing him, but again, it is scary.
I mean, they let the Colts show up against them last week, so
true. Yeah, I mean, start Pollard, Calvin Ridley. That's all. That's it.
You're probably gonna have to play him.
Yeah, that's probably the only 2 I'm playing for sure.
Yes, sir.
Indianapolis Colts going to the New York Jets, who should just sell the team. Yeah, this game's gross. This game's gross to me. Who you're starting with the Jets if you feel confident and comfortable doing it. Who knows? They might have a decent week because the Colts defense is not very good. As far as the Colts side goes, Josh Downs dropped some balls. Jonathan Taylor looked good, so you're starting those 2 players. Michael Pittman was out last week. I haven't heard if he's going to be back this week, but even if he's back, it's not something that's been great this year. So be hesitant. If you have better options and you feel comfortable, plug them in. Next game, we have the Seattle Seahawks playing at the San Francisco 49ers. CMC is back, y'all. CMC is back. I love CMC. I love Juwan Jennings, Deebo Samuel. I don't mind even Ricky Pearsall if you want to flex him. If you are in one of those predicaments and you have a Ricky Pearsall on your roster and you want to put him in your flex over some of these other receivers, do it.
Especially versus that defense.
Yeah. Yeah, the Seattle Seahawks defense hasn't not been good. On the Seattle side, you hope that DK is back. I know San Francisco has a good. I know that they have a good defense, but DK's DK. DK can beat anybody. He can beat anybody. Kenneth Walker, I'm fine playing those two guys. I'm even fine rolling out if you need to. Tyler Lockett and JSN. They will see a lot of targets. They're going to be down, so I expect them to throw the ball a lot this weekend. So those are the ones I'd play for those two teams. You have the Atlanta Falcons, Jason, playing at the Denver Broncos. London, Bijan, Mooney, Pitts. I mean, it hasn't been great every week, but at this point in time in the year,
you got to roll him out where you drafted him.
Yeah, you drafted him high.
You got to roll him out. Hey, Bo Nix had the best quarterback week that he's had all year. Last week, they should have won the game. Shane, I know you're probably listening to this. Good for you. The gods are on your side. But
Bo Nix is a good quarterback.
I think is a start on a flex.
Yeah, I'm starting Bo Nix.
I'm not starting any running back in Denver.
Not yet, because Estime, they say he's taking over the backfield, but I got to see it. I got to see a full complement.
I got to see it. Yeah, 100%.
I got to see a full complement. Yeah, I would say Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton.
That's it.
And that's pretty much all I like. Yeah. Chiefs. You have the Kansas City Chiefs traveling to Buffalo to play the Bills. Do we need to talk about this game? Yes, no?
No.
Okay. You know who you're starting with these two teams. I know Kincaid we put on the ice list, but you're going to start him. You're going to start him. You drafted him high. You're going to start him. Just feel confident. Put them in your lineup if they're healthy. Put them in your lineup and hope that they score your fantasy points. This should be a high-scoring offense or a high-scoring game, in my opinion. Even though the Chiefs haven't scored a crap ton of points, but it should be a good game. It should be a good game for all the starters.
In the backfield for the Chiefs. That's all.
It's going to be Hunt. Pacheco's not playing this week.
Oh, okay. Then all I would say is, and Coleman's probably not playing. Then you're starting up. You're
starting up Khalil Shakir. You're starting up.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Kincaid, Allen, and Cook.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, cool.
Okay. You have the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to the Los Angeles Chargers. This should be another good game. This should be another good game here. The Bengals, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, Chase Brown. Chase Brown's looked good. Do you feel confident in starting up Gesicki? I haven't heard anything about T. Higgins.
No.
I don't know what's going on there.
No.
No Gesicki?
No Gesicki. I think we're starting up the regs, bro.
Okay. What about for the Chargers? I think
Lad McConkey, you're starting him up.
Quentin Johnston, he's been getting run. Quentin Johnston's getting run.
If you drafted him, I think he's a flex play, but Ladd is a wide receiver too.
Yeah, I mean, I would flex Quentin Johnston. I would start Justin Herbert.
Yes, I agree. And that's I was about to ask you. I'm glad we got to this game. Jaden Daniels or Herbert this week?
I mean, I would probably start
Commanders versus the Eagles.
I would probably start Jaden over Herbert.
Upside. I mean, they're the same quarterback, but at the same time, they're both athletic. I think Herbert has a better arm.
Oh yeah.
But on a short week, I think you can't start the rookie.
I would say you do it because Jaden has that upside to get you rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, 100%.
For fantasy. I don't see that upside with Herbert, at least not right now. I mean, he can run.
That question.
Yeah. But I like Herbert. I like a Herbert play here. I like a Herbert play.
Yeah.
And then the last game, Jason, you have your Houston Texans traveling to the, I guess, Dallas Cowboys. They're just not a good team. They are not a good team this year. I think for the Cowboys, the only player you're starting up is CeeDee Lamb. I don't love Jake Ferguson, but I'm sure a lot of people do. A lot of people will play him. unfortunate. It's
Play
not great.
Bournemouth over Ferguson.
I would too. Yeah. No, I like CeeDee Lamb. I do think that Rico Dowdle could be a flex play this week. I think there's going to be a fair amount of dump offs, and I think he's a good flex this week. But that's pretty much it for that team. The Houston Texans, you're starting Stroud, you're starting Dell, you're starting Nico, you're starting Joe Mixon. I'm okay starting Dalton Schultz, but with Nico back, it scares me a little bit with Dalton Schultz.
I would sit Dalton Schultz this week if I can interview.
Had another option.
I would sit him. I would sit him this week. That's just how I feel versus that D. I think they're actually kind of strong in the middle with the Cowboys, and I feel like they will run their route. They're trying to cover over the outside. I don't like whenever Nico Collins is in the mix, they don't like to target Schultz all that much.
Yeah. I like those plays there. Okay, that's going to wrap up this week's episode of the Parlay Fantasy Football Podcast. Remember, guys, if you guys have any questions, hit us up, man. I know there's a lot of people that want us to talk about specific players. That's why we need the questions. We need you guys to ask those questions so we can actually get into it. We like going over just the schedule and saying players that we do like, players we don't like. But at the end of the day, at this point in time in the fantasy season, you guys have to make your decisions. You guys have to make your calls on who do you like, who do you want to trade for, who do you want to pick up off waivers, that kind of stuff, right? We are in the nitty gritty. I will say it again. So make those decisions, be confident about those decisions, plug those players in, and don't second guess yourself. This is the time where you just need points. You need to get in the playoffs. You need to get some W's. You do not want to have a player on your starting lineup that gives you a 0. So if there's hesitation, reach out and ask questions if there's hesitation on any players. Okay, we'll try to help you out as best as we possibly can, but be confident, right? Again, this is the time of year. So, Shane, we love you. We hope you come back soon. Remember to check us out on all of our socials, guys. Go to Apple Podcast, Spotify, click that subscribe button, share it, leave a 5-star review, head over Fantasy Six Pack, check us out over there, become an all access member. You guys know what you get with that. And then don't forget to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, Fantasy Six Pack. And with that being said, Jason, you know what to do.
Love you guys. Thank you. If you have fab, spend it over the next 2 weeks. Hey, go balls out. And hey, if you have any questions, please hit us up. Fantasy Six Pack. We love you. Thank you for everything you do for us. Peace.
That's right, y'all. We love you all to the moon and back. And until next week and next episode, peace out.